Sometimes in life, you encounter someone you never expected. You weren't thinking about them. You hadn't even imagined they were interested. And suddenly, you discover their eyes are turned toward you. This kind of moment surprises, unsettles, but at the same time, intrigues. Is it a simple coincidence or a deeper sign? In our lives, nothing happens without the wisdom of Allah. What seems surprising, mysterious, and sometimes even incomprehensible to us may actually be a precise element of God's plan. Today, we will explore an idea that touches both the heart and faith. What if this unexpected person who seems interested in you isn't there by coincidence, but because Allah wants to bring you closer? This question resonates strongly because it combines two essential dimensions of life: human relationships and divine guidance. This video is not a simple romantic tale. This is an invitation to reflect deeply on how Allah directs our steps, how He places certain people in our lives, and the subtle clues He gives us to discern His will. Many of us look for signs, sometimes in the most unlikely places, but forget that every encounter, every glance, every event can have spiritual significance. So open your mind and your heart. Perhaps the strange feeling you're experiencing right now, this doubt or curiosity about this person who never left your thoughts, is actually a reminder. A reminder that Allah, in His perfection and wisdom, does nothing by chance. In this journey we will share together, you will discover why certain encounters shake up our certainties, and how Allah can transform the unexpected into an unsuspected blessing. 1. The spiritual meaning of unexpected encounters. In daily life, we encounter many things. Some are planned, others are chosen, but there are also those that seem to appear out of nowhere. You hadn't planned anything, you weren't expecting anything in particular, and yet someone appears, catches your attention, or offers you a look that changes your perception. These moments, which at first seem fortuitous, often carry a depth that we don't immediately grasp. In the Islamic vision, chance does not exist. Everything is written in qadr, destiny, and every event, every encounter is precisely placed by Allah. He is the one who governs hearts, brings souls together, and decides the exact moment when two paths must cross. Thus, what seems unpredictable to you is in reality perfectly orchestrated by the one who knows your past, your present, and your future. An unexpected encounter can have several meanings. It can be a test. Allah places this person in your path to see how you react, whether you respect your values and boundaries. It can be a mercy. Allah offers you companionship, support, and affection that you would never have sought on your own. It can also be a preparation, a step that teaches you a lesson before the arrival of a greater destiny. We often underestimate the importance of these moments. We believe that important relationships must be planned, thought out, and chosen according to our own criteria. Yet, human history is full of stories where the strongest unions are born from surprising encounters, seemingly almost accidental. It is in these moments that we perceive the discreet but powerful hand of Allah, guiding hearts. Spiritually, these encounters also remind us of our total dependence on Allah. For while He alone decides who enters your life, you do not have absolute control. You can make plans, have preferences, but the final choice always belongs to the one who knows best what is good for you. An unexpected person who sets eyes on you can therefore be a sign that your plan is not necessarily the best, and that Allah's plan is superior. In reality, every encounter is an opportunity to return to Him. Whether this person is destined to stay or simply cross your path, they invite you to reflect. Why did Allah allow this interaction to occur? What wisdom should I draw from it? For Allah places nothing in your life unnecessarily. Even the unexpected has meaning. Even the unforeseen has direction. Thus, the spiritual significance of unexpected encounters lies in this truth. They are never truly unexpected for Allah. They are living reminders that your life is guided, that your heart is under His protection, and that every soul who crosses your path has a specific role in your story, even if you only understand it later. 2. The subtle signs Allah places in your path. When an unexpected person begins to show interest in you, it's natural to wonder. Is it a mere coincidence, a passing curiosity, or a deeper sign that this person has been placed in your path by Allah? The truth is that Allah communicates with His servants through events, encounters, and sometimes even the small details of daily life. But to understand these signs, one must develop spiritual vision, an attentive heart, and a clear mind. A first sign that something unusual is happening is the repetition of encounters. You encounter this person repeatedly, in different contexts, without having sought them out. This could be at work, in your neighborhood, among friends, or even during completely unexpected events. When the same person comes into your field of vision repeatedly, it's probably not a mere coincidence. Perhaps it's a reminder that Allah wants to get your attention. Another subtle sign is the inexplicable inner peace you feel when you're in this person's presence. This isn't superficial excitement or blind attraction, but a calm that fills you, as if your soul recognizes something beyond human logic. Allah says in the Quran that the hearts of believers find tranquility in His remembrance, dhikr. Similarly, sometimes Allah places a person in your path whose presence brings you closer to Him and reminds you of your true purpose. A third sign is the alignment of values and intentions. Even if you don't yet know this person deeply, you quickly notice that they share certain visions of life, certain priorities, and that they don't distance you from your faith. On the contrary, their manner encourages you to remain faithful to your principles. This consistency is an important sign, because Allah does not place a blessing in your path that would lead you to disobedience. But it is crucial here to differentiate between a divine sign and an illusion created by our own desires. Human beings tend to interpret every detail according to what they hope or fear. Sometimes we take a smile, a gesture of kindness, or a gesture of kindness and project our own expectations onto it. This is why discernment is essential. A true sign from Allah never pushes you to transgress your boundaries, rush into what is forbidden, or neglect your prayers. On the contrary, it strengthens your faith, makes you more patient and more aware of your choices. There are also times when Allah tests your heart. For example, you think you see a powerful sign, but over time you realize that this person was not meant to stay. In this case, it was not a mistake, but a necessary step to prepare you to better understand what you truly expect and to distinguish truth from falsehood. Every apparent sign is also an opportunity to return to Allah in prayer and istikhara, prayer of consultation. In summary, the subtle signs that Allah places on your path are not mere coincidences. They take the form of synchronicities, deep feelings of peace, and unexpected harmonies between you and the other. But to recognize them, you must purify your intention, calm your desires, and seek divine guidance above all else. For an authentic sign will never contradict faith, and a sincere heart will always be able to distinguish light from illusion. 3. Divine wisdom. Behind the unexpected. When we talk about the unexpected, the first human reaction is often surprise, even incomprehension. We like to organize our lives, make plans, and choose what seems best to us. Yet, Allah reminds us that our plans are not always aligned with His infinite wisdom. The unexpected is sometimes the greatest proof that we don't control everything, and that Allah knows exactly what we need, even if we don't realize it yet. Sometimes you're certain you know what type of person would suit you. You have precise criteria in mind, a constructed image of the person who will share your life. But Allah, in His mercy, can show you a completely different direction. The person who unexpectedly catches your eye may seem far removed from your initial expectations, yet be exactly the one who possesses the qualities your soul truly needs. For Allah does not rely on our illusions or superficial desires. He knows our hearts better than we know ourselves. The unexpected is also a powerful reminder of the trust, tawakkul, we must place in Allah. Trusting in Him means accepting that even what we did not anticipate is part of a benevolent plan. What you see as a surprise may actually be an answer to past prayers, even those you have forgotten. Perhaps you once asked Allah to grant you someone who would help you be a better person. And this unexpected encounter is precisely the answer, but in a form you had not imagined. Another aspect of the divine wisdom behind the unexpected lies in the test of patience. Faced with the unexpected, many rush, interpret, and idealize. But sometimes Allah wants you to learn to observe, to reflect, to let things clarify themselves without haste. Patience is not only a virtue, it is a condition for the full manifestation of blessing. For something given too soon or unwelcome can turn into a challenge. The unexpected can also be a way to push you out of your comfort zone. You thought you were following a precise path, but Allah slightly diverts your path to teach you a lesson, to bring you closer to someone, or to protect you from a danger you wouldn't have foreseen coming. This discrepancy between your plans and His is actually a sign of His protection. You sometimes think you've wasted time or been needlessly surprised, but in the divine vision, every detour is a step forward toward what is truly good for you. Finally, the divine wisdom behind the unexpected often manifests itself in hindsight. It's only months, sometimes years later, that you understand why Allah permitted an encounter or an event. What seems strange or unsettling becomes clear, and you realize that everything was perfectly planned. The unexpected was not a mistake of fate, but a subtle scripture that could only be understood at the right time. Thus, the unexpected is never an obstacle, but an open door. A door you hadn't anticipated, but one that Allah, in His wisdom, had prepared long ago. Accepting this truth means accepting that your role is not to control everything, but to welcome what comes with patience, trust, and gratitude. For Allah places nothing and no one in your life without reason. And behind every unexpected event lies a lesson, a protection, or a blessing. 4. The teachings of the Quran and Hadith on relationships. When it comes to relationships, especially those leading to marriage, the Quran and the Sunnah offer clear and profound guidance. In Islam, marriage is not a mere social arrangement or a matter of personal affection. It is an act of faith, a union blessed by Allah, intended to bring tranquility and balance to both souls. The Quran describes marriage as a divine sign. In Surah Ar-Rum 30:21, Allah says that among His signs is that He created for you, from yourselves, wives that you may find tranquility, sakina in them, and that He placed between you affection, mawadda, and mercy, rahmah. This description is not insignificant. It reveals that true love is not reduced to a fleeting passion. It rests on 3 pillars: serenity, sincere affection, and mercy. When an unexpected relationship awakens these feelings in you, it may be a sign of divine guidance. Another central teaching concerns destiny, qadr. In Surah Al-Hadid 57:22, Allah reminds us that nothing befalls the earth or your people except what has already been written in a book before we created it. This includes encounters, unions, and separations. In other words, even if a person appears in your life unexpectedly, this appearance is already part of a divine plan written from the beginning. This reminder invites us to humility. Our choices matter, but they always fit into a larger framework beyond our control. The hadiths of the Prophet reinforce this understanding. It is reported in Sahih Muslim that the Prophet said, "Souls are like soldiers gathered together. Those who recognize each other are attracted to each other, and those who don't recognize each other distance themselves." This means that sometimes you feel an immediate connection with a person, without any rational explanation. And this mysterious bond may be the trace of a spiritual compatibility that only Allah has ordained. The Prophet also emphasized the importance of choosing a spouse. He advised prioritizing faith and piety over beauty, wealth, or social status. In a hadith reported by Al-Bukhari and Muslim, he said, "A woman is married for 4 reasons: her wealth, her lineage, her beauty, and her religion. Choose one who is pious, and may your hand be covered with dust. You will prosper." This principle also applies to men. Thus, even if an unexpected person presents itself, the decisive criterion always remains faith and the ability to bring one's spouse closer to Allah. Another important aspect is reliance on Allah in the decision-making process. The Prophet taught the istikhara prayer, in which the believer asks Allah to guide their choice, to make it easy for them to do what is good and to keep them away from what would be harmful. This approach is essential. Even if a sign seems obvious, only Allah knows the true outcome. Istikhara transforms uncertainty into serenity, as it reminds us that the final decision belongs only to Him. These teachings also show that marriage is not an end in itself, but a means to serve Allah together. In another hadith, the Prophet describes marriage as half of faith. This emphasizes that the union between 2 believers is a spiritual path. It protects against temptations, encourages patience, and creates an environment where faith can grow. Thus, the Quran and the Hadith place the relationship between 2 people in a much broader perspective than simple attraction. Every encounter is a sign, every union a responsibility, every choice a potential adoration. When an unexpected person enters your life, it's not just about feelings, but a reminder to return to divine criteria: piety, sincerity, patience, and devotion to Allah. These teachings remind us that true success in a relationship is not just finding someone who pleases us, but finding someone who will be a means to attaining Allah's pleasure. This is why the unexpected, far from being a coincidence, can be a spiritual opportunity, provided we approach it with the Quran and Sunnah as our guides. 5. Steps to recognize if it's truly willed by Allah. When an unexpected person enters your life and you sense a special interest, it's essential not to let yourself be carried away solely by your emotions. Love, attraction, and curiosity can sometimes cloud your lucidity and lead you to see signs where none exist. Islam teaches us to seek clarity in our choices and to put Allah at the center of our decisions. Here are some fundamental steps that can help you recognize if this relationship is truly willed by Allah. 1. Purify your intention. The first step is to verify your intention. Why are you attracted to this person? Is it solely a matter of beauty, charm, or social status? Or is it a sincere interest, based on the desire to build a blessed relationship in accordance with faith? A clear intention turned toward Allah is a strong sign that you are seeking the right direction. 2. Observe consistency with faith. A person who is a gift from Allah in your life will never distance you from Him. If this relationship encourages you to be careless in your prayer, to fall into haram, or to hide your actions out of fear, then it is probably not a blessing. On the contrary, if this person's presence strengthens your religious practice, pushes you to be more disciplined, more patient, and more respectful of the boundaries set by Allah, it is a positive sign. 3. The istikhara prayer. The Prophet taught istikhara as a powerful tool for seeking divine guidance. This prayer consists of asking Allah to facilitate what is good and to turn away what is bad, even if you cannot see it clearly. Istikhara does not always bring spectacular dreams or visible signs. Often, it manifests as ease and serenity in your heart, or conversely, as obstacles and persistent unease. This is a way to place the choice in the hands of Allah, for He alone knows what is truly beneficial for you. 4. Consult with people you trust. Islam also encourages shura, consultation. Speak with wise, pious, and experienced people who can give you objective advice. When you are emotionally involved, it is easy to lose perspective. An outside perspective, based on faith and experience, can help you see what you yourself cannot see. 5. Observe consistency and behavior. True signs of sincerity do not reveal themselves overnight. Take the time to observe if this person is consistent in their interest, faith, and intentions. Someone whom Allah wills for you will not be satisfied with fine words. They will demonstrate commitment, respect, and patience. 6. Seek ease in the path. Another important criterion is the ease with which Allah allows the process. If the relationship develops naturally, without you having to transgress your values or struggle against insurmountable obstacles, it's often a sign that the path is blessed. Conversely, if you constantly have to force things, hide, lie, or disobey, then it's probably not what Allah wants for you. 7. Accept the outcome with tawakkul. Finally, you must accept that even after all these steps, the answer may still be no. Recognizing Allah's will also means knowing how to let go when a relationship doesn't materialize. This doesn't mean failure, but simply that it wasn't meant for you, and that Allah has planned something better, even if you don't yet understand it. By following these steps, you move from raw emotion to a spiritual journey. You learn not to trust your heart or your eyes alone, but to put Allah at the center of your thinking. For true love, in Islam, is not that which inflames desires for a moment, but that which brings two souls together for the purpose of worshipping Allah together. 6. The dangers of illusions and personal desires. When an unexpected person catches your attention, it's easy to fall into a subtle trap, mistaking your own desires for divine signs. Human beings have a natural tendency to interpret reality based on what they hope for. If your heart is already attracted, every gesture may seem like proof, every smile a hint, every encounter a confirmation. But the truth is, this inner projection can be an illusion, and it can lead you away from the true wisdom that Allah wants to teach you. The most common danger is mistaking an emotional attachment for spiritual guidance. Feeling a strong attraction, excitement, or obsession doesn't necessarily mean the relationship is blessed. Sometimes it's simply your emotions speaking louder than your reason. However, emotions are fickle, unstable, and if they're not guided by faith, they can blind you. Another dawner is looking for signs where there are none. For example, you may encounter this person often and see a hidden message, when it may just be a normal coincidence. You dream about them and believe it's a revelation. when it may simply be a reflection of your daily thoughts. If you're not careful, you risk constructing an entire illusion based on your imagination instead of waiting for real, concrete evidence. Personal desires can also lead you to justify the forbidden. Sometimes, a person is so appealing that we're tempted to overlook certain behaviors that aren't in accordance with Islam. We think, maybe they'll change, or surely Allah wants us to be together, even if it's not perfect right now. But this type of reasoning is dangerous, because Allah never guides us into a relationship that begins with disobedience. A true divine sign won't force you to betray your values in order to exist. There is also the risk of confusing passion with tranquility. Passion is intense and burning, but it often fades quickly. Tranquility, on the other hand, is gentle and constant, and is rooted in respect and sincerity. Many people are seduced by the initial intensity, believing it to be a blessing, only to later discover that it was only a fleeting illusion. Finally, illusions and personal desire can distance you from the remembrance of Allah. When you become overly obsessed with a person, you may begin to neglect your prayer, waste your energy on repetitive thoughts, compare yourself, or worry excessively. However, a connection intended by Allah should bring you closer to Him, not distance you from His presence. If you feel this relationship distracting you from your worship, it's probably a sign that it's not a blessing but a trial. The key to avoiding these dangers is to remain vigilant and honest with yourself. You must ask yourself, do I really want this person for myself? Or do I want what Allah wants for me? The difference is immense. Illusion arises from the projection of our desires, while the divine sign is always accompanied by peace, clarity, and conformity with faith. Ultimately, the true protection against illusions is to keep your heart fixed on Allah. For only He can purify your gaze and show you whether this unexpected person is a gift or simply a test of your patience and faith. 7. Testimonies. Concrete examples. To better understand how Allah sometimes places an unexpected person in our path, nothing speaks more clearly than real-life stories. These accounts are not meant to be copied in minute detail, but to illustrate how the unexpected can turn into a blessing when embraced with faith and patience. Story 1. Encounter in trial. Amina, a pious young woman, was going through a difficult time after losing her job. She prayed a lot and asked Allah to open a door for her. One day, while attending an Islamic conference solely for spiritual renewal, she met a sister who introduced her to her brother. This brother, whom she would never have met otherwise, turned out to be a sincere, attentive man driven by a strong faith. At first, Amina saw him as nothing more than a simple contact. But over time, she realized that his calm and serious manner answered her prayers. What she thought was a simple coincidence became a marriage filled with serenity. Story 2. The unexpected neighbor. Youssef had lived in an apartment building for years, paying little attention to his neighbors. But one day, a power outage forced several residents to gather in the hallway. It was then that he truly interacted with a neighbor he barely knew. Their conversation, simple at first, gradually transformed into genuine interest. Youssef never expected to find a partner so close to home. They quickly discovered that they shared the same values and the same desire to build a life centered on Allah. This encounter, born of a simple unforeseen event, completely changed their lives. Story 3. The twist of fate. Sarah had always imagined marrying someone from her circle of friends or community. But Allah had another plan. During a business trip, she met a colleague from another city. Their relationship initially remained strictly professional, but she was struck by his integrity and piety. After several respectful exchanges, she understood that Allah had placed her on this path not for work, but for a decisive encounter. Today, they share their testimony that this marriage, which they could never have anticipated, has brought them a peace of mind they could never have imagined. These stories demonstrate one essential thing: Allah is the best of planners. Often, the people who play a major role in our lives appear in unexpected contexts. What seems like coincidence is never so. Behind every encounter lies wisdom, protection, or blessing. But the key remains the same. Keep Allah at the center, remain attentive to His signs, and move forward with patience. 8. Tips for moving forward with serenity. When an unexpected person enters your life and you feel a special interest, the first thing to remember is that everything must be done calmly. A rushed relationship, guided solely by emotions, can quickly become a source of confusion. On the contrary, moving forward calmly, with patience and trust in Allah, allows you to lay a solid foundation. 1. Keep patience as your ally. Don't rush to the conclusion that this person is the one. Destiny reveals itself over time. Patience allows you to observe, discern, and give Allah the space to enlighten you through events. 2. Increase your prayer and supplication. Recite istikhara, prayer and dua for your companions. Speak to Allah about your doubts, your hopes, your fears. He alone knows what is truly good for you, and He is the one who can soothe your heart or steer you away from what would harm you. 3. Remain transparent and respect boundaries. If there is a sincere interest, prioritize clear and respectful communication. Avoid hidden exchanges or situations that cast doubt on you. Honesty and respect for the rules of Islam protect your heart and honor. 4. Consult wise people. Don't make your decisions alone. Talking to your family, pious friends, or spiritual advisors can provide you with an outside perspective, often more lucid than your own. They will be able to see what you, blinded by attachment, cannot see. 5. Put Allah at the center of your journey. Remember that the true goal is not just to find someone, but to build a relationship that brings you closer to Allah. If you feel that this relationship is turning you away from Him, take it as a warning. If, on the contrary, it strengthens your faith and commitment, consider it a positive sign. In short, moving forward peacefully means walking with confidence and balance, without haste or obsession. You don't need to force things, because if this relationship is truly willed by Allah, it will come about with ease and blessing. If it isn't, accept it with dignity and tawakkul. Trust in Allah, knowing that what Allah has planned for you is always better. Sometimes, in life, we seek what we believe to be the right person based on our own criteria: beauty, status, proximity, or immediate affinity. But Allah, in His infinite wisdom, often acts differently. The person truly meant for you may appear where you least expect it, in unexpected circumstances, or even after a detour you never imagined. These encounters sometimes seem surprising, but they are always orchestrated by the guidance of Allah, who knows your heart better than you know yourself. It is essential to remember that the key is not just finding someone, but building a relationship that elevates you spiritually. A person chosen by Allah is not perfect, but their presence in your life brings you closer to Him, encourages you to be better, and strengthens your faith. Every smile, every support, every word shared then becomes a means of drawing closer to Allah. Serenity, trust, and tranquility of heart are signs that you are on the right path. On this journey, patience is your best ally. Don't rush, don't force things, and don't let your personal desires cause you to confuse illusion with blessing. True love in Islam is one that is built with wisdom, respect, faith, and sincerity. Unexpected encounters are often tests of patience and discernment, but also ways in which Allah reveals His mercy. Finally, always remember that what is written for you will come at the right time. Even if today you don't understand why this person entered your life or why certain things seem delayed, remain confident. What Allah has planned is beyond anything you can imagine. By placing Allah at the center of your heart and your choices, you will find inner peace and the certainty that every encounter, every connection, every detour is part of a perfectly orchestrated divine plan. So may this story of an unexpected encounter remind you that Allah's guidance is the light that illuminates the path to true love. Be patient, be sincere, stay connected to your faith, and welcome every encounter with gratitude. Because sometimes what seems surprising is actually the greatest gift.